You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowing like sis. Then it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who take on my hate. Look me better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper than again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the first part of What If Deku Meets Katekyo Hitman Reborn. Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of BoyishBlue on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. Tsuna clenched his hands before looking at Reborn, who was staring at him intently. What are you planning to do now? The hitman asked. Look around then get us out of here. The brunette asked. Us? You plan to get me out of here with you? Yes. It's either I get us out of here or the heroes will. Reborn huffed. Stupid. Tsuna smiled. After that, I'm gonna invite you to my home. You're inviting a killer to your house. Yes. It's either that or I'll invite myself to yours. Tsuna stood up and crossed the room to get the hitman. Before that, we need to get your hat and Leon. And your guns. My hat, Leon and my guns. Yes. Just who are you? How come you know me? Tsuna took out a paperclip from his pocket and started to pick-lock the arm cuffs on the hitman. Let's just say I'm your student in a different world and I owe every single thing I achieved there to you. Reborn stared at him before chuckling. I like you, kid. Of course you would. I was your adoptive son, after all. The last thing he remembered before he blacked out was he was staring at his guardians who were panicking over him. The next thing he knew, he's staring at a gray ceiling, sunlight streaming from the big window on the side. He mentally sighed, rolling to his side before he sat up as his father, Imitsu Sawada, knocked on the door with a cheery smile. Tuna fish. Lunch is ready. His dad announced. He gave an exaggerated throw of his hands in the air and shouted, Yee-hee. Yee-hee. The other shouted too before signing him to come. Come on, little man. Yes. He shouted before going down from his bed. Tsuna didn't mind the flash of suspicion and understanding in those blue eyes as Imitsu watched him ran to the door and let himself get carried like a toddler should be lifted. They walked to the small hallway to reach the living room before going for the kitchen. They were greeted by Nana Sawada placing plates of food on the table. The moment his feet touched the floor, he ran up to his mother and hugged the woman's thigh, earning a ruffle on the head before he got lifted up again to settle him on his usual chair. After his parents sat themselves, they said a small thanks before they started to eat. It has been 3 months since he died in his original world and opened his eyes in the new world he is now. Being shot by the 10-year bazooka in sometimes for the past 30 years he was announced to be the Vongola Decimo, trained him not to be surprised in such circumstances. So when he opened his eyes after remembering closing them with his family as the last thing he saw, he took everything in a stride. Although, it's little hard for him to adjust with the fact that his other self died when he's just 3 years and 9 months old. 'Cause of death. A villain attacked the mall he and Nana went to do some shopping. A beam fell on his toddler self and struck the head, causing him to die instantly. Good thing his hair was gravity-defying already at the age of 3. He was able to hide the BLD from his mother who has been searching for him. He washed it off himself after coming back home, just when Imitsu called to check on them. He has suspicions that his parents have noticed how different the Tsuna then and the Tsuna in present. It cannot be helped. Tsuna is far mature than his toddler self. He is a 44-years-old man in a body of a child. He can't help doing mature stuffs like watching news and looking over newspaper that gets delivered in their house every 3 days. Of course he tries hard to act like his body age. He exaggerates things, throws stupid tantrums and read out things he learned from the TV. However, that Tsuna now is much tolerable and more of a good boy. He even thinks that it won't be long before his parents confront him or something. Regardless, he is thankful for their patience and understanding. They have suspected that he got a trauma over the villain attack, that they negated because he doesn't experience nightmares. It was plausible though. He could have used that reason as a good excuse why he acts mature, but he can't force himself to get nightmares, can he? In terms of villains, the world he woke upon is a universe where quirks or special abilities are prominent. He discovered this after seeing people use superpowers in broad daylight. With that, people in the whole world are divided into four: the heroes who save the world from criminal activities, the people with quirks who don't do heroism, instead work in companies and do normal things with their quirks, the quirkless people who did not manifest their quirks at the expected age, and the villains who do criminal activities. Imitsu Sawada is a hero too, with the hero name Young Lion with a fire quirk. His dad in this world is still the leader of the small hero agency called CDEF. What Tsuna likes about his dad in the new world is that the man treasures his family. For the past 3 months he has been there, Imitsu only missed calling them whenever he's in the house. Every time he's away, he will call every 9 in the evening to talk to them. Tsuna usually only says, hi, and does his nightly duties with minimal helps from Nana, because he doesn't want to interrupt his parents' talk. Quirk World's Imitsu version is probably the best husband and father he had ever met. Nana Sawada was a hero turned civilian, under the hero name Nana, or 7. Her quirk is delusion, something that can make her enemy see other things instead of the reality he should be seeing. She's also an underground hero. Like any Nana he met in other parallel worlds, Nana is warm, a good cook and a cheerful woman. The only difference is she's sharp and smart. She knows the current stream, and the one who advises her husband when Imitsu has a problem. She's understanding too and lovable. After eating lunch and excusing himself from his parents, Tsuna went for the big window of their apartment and sat there to wait for the children versions of his guardians. He discovered that fact 2 months ago, and since then, he has been watching them. From early morning and early afternoon, Tsuna will wait for them to show up on the street he can see. He always sees Takashi with his parents, walking between them like a tall toddler he is to the park, the preschool or somewhere that has a baseball game in it. Then there come Mukuro and Chrome who he figures as twins. Sometimes, the two are alone, sometimes they're with their parents. Kyuya will be seen with adult Fawn and Leiche, while wearing kindergarten uniform. Both Hibari's glance at his building, probably figuring out where is he staring at them. There's also Ryohei who walks with his parents and Kyoko. Haru sometimes comes and goes with a woman Tsuna figured as her mother. He only saw Hayato once, walking with his appealing mother, Lavina Gakudera and Shamal. He speculated that Lembo isn't born yet. What he can't stop thinking about was the fact that his guardians are much older than him. Who knows, the age gap between his and Lembo's is maybe a year. While they're already starting kindergarten, Tsuna is stuck at home. But with a heartbreaking realization, he also thinks that it must be fate. Because he knew he's a trouble magnet. Being friends with him will cause them a lot of trouble. Heedless of how he misses them, he can't have them again. And besides, they're not his guardians too. They're a different set of versions. He wonders about Reborn though. Where could the hitman be at a time like this? Tsukuen. Kazan. He called out too, glancing away from Chrome's and Mukuro's leaving figures. Do you want some snacks? Just simple enough not to spoil your appetite for dinner, Tsukuen. Nana queried softly while crouching beside him. Oh. Did Mukuro-kun and Chrome-chan pass already? He nodded. Yes, Kazan. Well then, come. Kyuya-kun will not be passing in 15 minutes. He nodded. Okay. He ran to catch up to his mother who went for their dining area. On the table is a plate of what he guesses are cookies, accompanied with a tall glass of milk. Tsuna kept the laughter of irony inside him as he sat on his usual seat with the help of Nana. He reminded himself that Imitsu must be taking a call since he can hear the man's voice outside their apartment. While eating his snacks, he indulged Nana with what he observed about his friends that morning they passed by. After 2 weeks of avidly watching the Quirk World's version of his ex-guardians by the window, Nana asked him about it. He talked about what he observed and who he likes to see. He didn't know what made his mother wait outside their building and ask for his guardians' names. He almost facepalmed, although he did go red in embarrassment for his mother's antics. Still the friendly Nana as ever. So in 2 hours of waiting, Nana got all their names, introduced them to Tsuna by the use of the window and always asks him what he sees in every day he watches over them. He felt grateful how thoughtful his mother was, regardless of the stunt she did. By the time dinner came by, Tsuna watched a little of the TV. He updated himself of what happened in their country regarding villain attacks and heroism things. When 10 o'clock of the evening started to tinker in, a quarter before the clock announces the arrival of the time, he started to do his nightly routines with the help of Nana and Imitsu. Before he sleeps, the two tucked him on his bed and bid him good nights and sweet dreams. He told them he loves them like how a child will say it, getting "I love yous" in return and 2 kisses on the forehead. If he only knew. Tsuna rolled out of his bed as he tried to appease his throbbing head. He was about to groan when his intuition screamed at him not to do it. Blinking his eyes as the alien on his head nudged him to the door, Tsuna already felt his body go tense in alarm. He cursed silently for having a toddler's body. Due to how small his body, he can't sense anything. But, thanks to a child's natural sensitive hearing and his intuition, he can hear the careful footsteps of someone outside his room. Probably his parents' room. Tsuna got down from his bed in a hushed way and tried to feel the footsteps. Nana's footsteps aren't that light. It always has a spring in them, while Imitsu is a little heavy, given his build. So he suspected it as an intruder. His head started to run strategies. Given his small build, he can't sneak on their intruder, so he has to lure him out and deceive him like he's a normal child. The brunette patted the floor with normal steps and reached out for his door. Since his parents figured he can't reach the doorknob yet, they always leave it open for him to get out in his own will. So he opened the door on his own, pretending to just woken up. He stepped outside the hallway just as the door of his parents opened, and a man wearing a gray hoodie, faded jeans and rubber shoes went out from there. "Oh. Hey little guy." The man greeted, stepping out to the hallway and facing him. He looked up with the most innocent look he could muster. "Where's Mama? I want to drink water." "Oh. Well, Mama is sleeping." The man replied, stepping forward. Tsuna didn't budge from his spot. "Really? What about Papa?" he queried, pouting as he calculated the distance between the man's spread-out legs and if he can fit in there to get to the room. "I'm really thirsty. Maybe I can help you," the other offered. Tsuna pretended to mumble. "Ha." He continued to mumble. The man lowered his upper body to reach his level. "What?" "I said get out of my way." He gritted before punching the man right on the nose bridge with all his might. Just as the man riled back, he ran and slid between the man's legs. He hurriedly got up and kicked the back of the other's left leg before running for the door and closing it. He quickly locked the knob, slid the bolt and attached the chain before inspecting the room. He took notice how neat everything was, except for Imitsu on the floor with a small puddle of blood by the head. He snappily ran for some clothes and rushed to apply pressure on his paternal's head wound. As he did, he tried to search for pulse by the neck. He sighed in relief when he felt a weak pulse. He didn't get startled when the man started to knock. He searched for a scissor on the drawer of the side table and started to cut the shirt he found. Regardless of how weak he is, he tried to rip the shirt with both hands to get the process more faster. He was taught that as long as the hem was severed, the body of the cloth will get ripped easily until it reached another hem. With steady knowledge of how to do first aid, he put a thick gauze on the blunt injury, and started to wrap it tightly. As tight as he could to keep the pressure and stop the blood flow in the same process. As the door get pounded, Tsuna proceeded to get the phone and dialed a series of number unconsciously while going over to Nana. He cursed when he saw his mother's state, a slice to the side of her neck. He put the ringing phone on the bed as he ran for the folded clothes again, and took two. He went for the scissors as the man from the other side tried to open the door by force. He didn't mind. When he got to the bed again, he put pressure by the injured neck and checked for a pulse. When he heard the ringing connected, he immediately spoke. "Hello. This is Tsunayoshi Sawada and I have an emergency." He took a deep breath as he put more pressure after assuring himself that his mother has a pulse, although barely there. "We have an intruder in our apartment here in Swearin Building, room 38. We have 2 injured. One is Dash." He looked back when he heard a crack. He cursed. Imitsu Sawada, 35 years old with BLD type O, has a blunt injury on the head. He has a weak pulse and I was able to apply pressure to keep the bleeding. Nana Sawada, 33 with BLD type A, has a neck wound. I'm currently trying to apply pressure. He shook off the warning his alien is screaming. Please dispatch a hero and ambulances as soon as posse dash. Tsuna suddenly found himself being pulled by the back of his shirt. He went flying until his back hit the wall. He fell on the floor with a groan. When his intuition told him to dodge, he listened this time and rolled away. He scrambled to run for the broken door, only to get caught on the back of his shirt again. He glared at the man before he raised his arms to remove himself from the long shirt and turned around to kick the other on the shin. The man cursed and kicked him on the stomach, causing Tsuna to spew water and get thrown pretty far away from the man. "You little SHT. The man cursed at him. "You're like your parents. I should have killed you first to spite them." Tsuna coughed harshly, feeling his stomach burning from the pain he experienced with the strong kick. He is so grateful that his intuition is nice enough not to make him black out. "You even called the police. F you." The man yelled. Tsuna kept his face wincing to not let the man get a hold of what he's thinking when those crazed eyes looked over to Nana. "Heh. You've done a nice job on your mother. F." He cursed. "Oh. Bad boy. Children do not curse." The man taunted while stepping back to reach Nana's spot. "Don't." Tsuna shouted, trying his best to rise from his spot. "Shut up." The man shouted. Caramel eyes narrowed a little when the other snatched the scissors from the side table. "You do not dictate what I will do. You son of a bitch. You and your family deserve to die. You put me into the jail and took everything from me. From me who did nothing wrong. Your mother and your father stole everything to me. Do you know how painful it is to have my job taken away?" Tsuna watched the scissors as the man flailed his arms everywhere. The man laughed like a lunatic. "I will get my revenge. You and your family. I will kill every single one of you. I will start with your mother, then your father before you. I will make you watch how I'll kill them. How I'll butcher them in front of you." The moment Tsuna saw the man's raise his hand that's clenching the scissors, he immediately stood up. When the hand started to descend, he felt his gut churn in desperation. And before he knew it, his flames erupted. He could feel every fiber of his body reacting and in rush. The way he felt the familiar flame manifesting between his brows, his emotions calming and his perception went clearer. He breathed as his eyed the man who froze. He let out more of his sky flames. Hot, dry, angry. How could this man blame his parents for getting captured? How could he take revenge on them from having his job removed? Were they the one who took it away from him? Were they the one doing something wrong to have him put in there? He did everything, right? He was the one who put himself in there. So how can he threaten Tsuna that he will kill his parents? His family? Why you dash? There's a difference between messing with the right person and messing with the wrong one. He started off as he steps forward. Don't come any closer, you freak. The man shouted, throwing the scissors to him. Tsuna caught the scissor with a hand and gripped it. He let it melt in his hand as he steps forward again, like a lion cornering its prey. It was fine if you intruded our home and stole goods. But the fact that you threatened me to kill my parents, my family, in front of me, on my birthday. The intruder stepped back a lot until his back hit the wall. Don't come any closer. The brunette laughed hollowly as he let go of the melted scissors as he stepped some more to mock the other. What's so scary now? Never thought that I'll manifest this kind of flames. He released more and watched the man fell on his knees to beg mercy. I show mercy to those who deserves it. But for you? No. I will kill you. He reached out and gripped the other's neckline shirt with all his strength. He glared straight to the man's eyes, own eyes were glowing amber in anger. Correction, I'll make you go insane. You mess with my family, you mess with the Vongola Decimo. And he let out a lot of his flames. The man trembled before blacking out. Retracting his flames, Tsuna stepped back. He went for the side of the bed to see his mother's well-being. He put a finger on the wrist and concentrated regardless of his slowly swimming mind. When he felt the weak pulse, he trusted his intuition to help him bandage Nana's neck, not too tight, just enough to stop the bleeding. After that, he sagged and let his flames snuff out. He fell on the floor and found himself losing consciousness. But before he let his grip slip, he heard a voice from the phone near him. Chaos. They're on their way. Good job staying alive, Decimo. And blank. When Eraserhead got dispatched to help a child who called in for help from room 38 of Swearin building, he didn't expect an almost scorched up room. Every wall up to the ceiling have scorch marks on them. But he didn't really dwell on them. He immediately directed every medics to get to the couple with injuries, before putting his capturing weapon in use to pick up the man he suspected as the intruder, and picked up the child who was unconscious by the side of the bed. Before he knew it, he's inside the hospital. He felt conflicted when the doctor told him what happened to young Lion and Nana. Both lost too much BLD regardless of giving them the replenish they needed, rendering them in coma state. Young Lion's injury was properly treated with first aid, as well as Nana's neck wound. But given the fact that the intruder's quirk is to induce sleep, it will take time before the two wake up. Especially that the man has been jumpy since he woke up and a little less cooperative when it comes to the family he attacked. The man has been cooperative with the questioning of the police. But when he was told to retell everything from his own view, the man started to shake and quiver and cry in mercy. They couldn't understand the man. It's like he wasn't the one who attacked the family. He was the one who got traumatized, sobbing about a man with orange eyes, Inferno and Vongo, which they discovered to mean as a clam in Italian. It didn't make sense. Eraserhead sighed as he walked for the ICU where young Lion and Nana were admitted. When he noticed the small figure sitting on the waiting bench, back resting on the rest, he almost hesitated. He doesn't know what to say to the kid. At the age of 3, he witnessed something horrific. To almost lose both of his parents must be very traumatic. However, he is rather amazed with the child too. Tsunayoshi Sawada was the first child at his age to ever reach out to the emergency number while experiencing the situation on hand. He gave out the necessary information the receiving end needed. They don't know what happened to the 5-minute span they have used to get there, but the kid was remarkable to quickly think of what to do. He was also the one who dressed the first aid on his father's head injury, and applied pressure to her mother's neck wound. For such kid to know those is frightening and jaw-dropping at the same time. So he decided to approach. The moment he got closer, the kid's head snapped to his direction. There's nothing much on the child, except for a simple shirt and pajama bottoms. Eraserhead, or Shoyuta Aizawa, can't help himself from unfurling his capturing weapon to remove his long-sleeve shirt. He sat beside the small brunette to put the shirt on the ladder. The kid cooperated and snuggled on his shirt after. "Thank you, Eraserhead-san." The child expressed softly without stuttering. "No lisps too." He nodded and let his weapon loop around his neck again as he looked over the windows. "Sorry about your parents, kid. It can't be helped." His head snappily turned to see the child hugging his knees with this matured expression on his face. "They're heroes. Every villains they had captured when I wasn't existing yet have grudges on them. It will happen one way or another." Shoyuta can't help thinking about the things that were said before he nodded slowly in understanding. "You're right. I'm just glad I was able to do the first aid treatment right, and gave more time for them to live." The child sighed, smiling a little in relief. "You did a fine job," he praised, leaning for the rest as well. "Thanks for arriving there too. I bet the medics won't get in without any assurance from heroes." "No. I should be the one to apologize for not getting there sooner. You were brave though. Thank you for holding out." He got a nod in return. "Do you have any plans?" "Probably let the police dictate where to put me by now. I don't have any other relative that I know. The people I know aren't here. They have lives. So no plans." Then a small shrug. Eraserhead got amazed with how mature the child is. From the way he talked, from how his tone sounded, and how his eyes stayed looking dim but appreciative with the news that his parents are in coma. Normal children in his age will start whining for their parents. Some will cry for the missing heat. Others will probably demand. But the child beside him didn't. He doesn't think the brunette will do anything except accept what will be the next stop for him. He wonders. "My name's Shoyuta Aizawa," he introduced. "Tsunayoshi Sawada. Tsuna will be fine for me." The child did the same, bowing his fluffy head for a sign of respect. "How old are you?" he queried. Tsuna, the fluffy child, yawned cutely before answering. "I'm 3, yeah. 4 for today." Shoyuta froze. "What? Today, I'm 4. The child clarified before laying his sleepy head on his knees. "Today is my birthday." "I'm sorry." He saw a hand wave off, like dismissing the apology. Should a kid even know what that gesture means? "It's fine. It happens every time. Something like this won't surprise me anymore, Eraserhead-san." Shoyuta let out a sigh before he gathered the kid to his arms. He can't help himself from chuckling when the latter squeaked in surprise. At least he still knows how to react like any children. "Why don't we go to the police now? Just do your papers to finish everything." The brunette leaned on his shoulder as he gets up. "I want my foster parents to let me visit my parents whenever I want. I don't care if they're bad or they're unkind. Just let me see my parents until they wake up and I'm okay." "Picky and demanding," he commented, walking away and feeling the child getting lulled to sleep. "Any more demand? A comfy bed, I'm tired." He chuckled when the child closed his eyes and went to sleep. He graciously covered the bundle with his shirt and held the latter closer as he got out of the hospital building. Outside is a police officer with his buddy. He nodded at them before letting them know that he's taking the child to the station so he needs a ride. While lounging inside the back seat, he looked down to the child who snuggled closer on him to try seek more heat. He should be disgusted by now, right? He's not that good with children. But with Tsuna, he doesn't feel awkward. He's more amused and amazed with the child's maturity and intelligence. Really? He wonders. Shoyuta watched the child answer every question Naomasa Tsukachi, the assigned officer for questioning, asks. The child's actions at the moment are exaggerated. Like a child must act supposedly. If he can't see how Tsuna's eyes gave off the unusual mature glint, he will think that their talk 3 hours ago was just a manifestation of his imagination due to the lack of sleep. But the way those caramel eyes always become orange in some instances, he dismissed it as a trick of light every time the child goes mature talk. He thinks otherwise. Right now, he has a paper in hand with a list of people and orphanages that could take Tsuna. All he needed to do is call one and the brunette will be taken by morning comes. He hadn't asked the child who he wants to pick or what he thinks since he got whisked away for some debriefing and questioning. That, and Tsuna is still wearing his shirt, while Tsukachi gave him a coat to keep himself warm. He just couldn't do it himself. There's just something that urges him to consult Tsuna first before doing the decision. Maybe it's just how mature the child and how great his understanding to his current situation. He can't see anyone approving the brunette's request at a young age. And to think that the day they got attacked was the same day as his birthday. How much of a birthday gift is that? He stood straighter when Tsukachi got up, ruffled the kid's hair before going out of the room with a folder in hand. Tsukachi's expression by then was a mixture of awe and amusement. Tsunayoshi is such a mature child. The police officer stated once he got near Shoyuta. I know. I've talked to him in the hospital. He agreed. You haven't called anyone yet, have you? The officer questioned, pertaining to the list in his hand. I haven't. What happened in there? He sidetracked, and got a knowing look from Tsukachi. I told him who the man is and what happened to his parents. Then I asked him questions and what happened. He was pretty detailed. Caramel eyes looked at the window where Tsuna can be seen. The brunette craning his head to side, probably humming a song under his breath. I never met such child with this kind of high intelligence. He knows what to do, what it is for and what are the standard procedure. I never detected any lie from him from the start of the questioning up until I finished. If I didn't know Nizu, I would have dubbed Tsunayoshi as a genius of his own. Shoyuta sighed through his nose as he gripped the paper. I've been wondering. After talking with Tsukachi of what he thinks, he rounded up the paperwork that was needed to be done in the station before going for the room where he was sure some of the female officers would be cooing at Tsuna. Like he guessed, the child was having his fun eating breakfast provided by the officers. He was even given a glass of milk and a cake for dessert. Eraserhead-san. The 5 girls greeted, standing straight. He nodded. Is he done? Would you want to eat your cake, Tsunayoshi-kun? Mayano queried softly to the brunette who was sipping his milk. Or pack it up. Maybe pack it up, Wani-chan. The kid smiled cutely. I want to give it to my new guardian as a thanks. The females fawned and cooed at how thoughtful the kid. Shoyuta lamented the future that the brunette will become a heartbreaker someday. Okay. I'll pack it up for you. Stay here with Eraserhead-san, alright? Mayano informed, getting a nod as an answer. As the females started to go out with the used plate, glass and the cake, Shoyuta took the chair from the other side, and lifted it to place beside Tsuna's. He put the stapled papers on the table and gestured the child to it. He saw the brunette raise a brow at him before taking the papers, and started to scan the words like he knew what it contains. But Shoyuta only watched and never questioned. He had been thinking about how intelligent the child is. If he is that smart, he might know what the papers contain. When the brunette looked up to him with wide eyes, Shoyuta knew already that the child understood what the papers say. A genius indeed. Wait. You mean dash. I couldn't ask you about the list when you have your own conditions. He leaned in, giving his point. Let's say there will be a couple that will permit you to visit your parents. Your problem is, you're not in the right age to enter the hospital, so it won't be possible. But if you're with a hero, I can just give you a sure access without being questioned by anyone. The child went thoughtful. You have a point there. That, and I don't think you're A troublesome kid. He confessed before sighing. I'm an underground hero, a vigilante. I live alone and I prefer to be alone. I'm not confident that I can take care of you since I can barely take care of myself. You're just a 4 years old and barely able to do things on your own. If this doesn't work, we're a bad match. Big caramel eyes stared at him before they blinked and he got graced with an appealing smile. We won't know that until we try. Shoyuta sighed before nodding. Alright. I have you to know too, that I have a very loud friend, and a nosy one. Oh. You have friends? The child giggled when he sent a glare. Sorry. I was kidding. Peace, Eraserhead-san. You can call me Aizawa. Not Shoyuta. He rose a brow at the innocent question. The kid went sheepish. Sorry. Tu-san is somewhat Italian so I kind of got the habit from him. Do you want me to call you Dad? He must have looked horrified cause the other cringed. Maybe let's take it slow. I'll call you Aizawa-san for now. Then move to Shoyuta before going for Dad. He finished, nodding at the idea. Okay. We could do that. Tsuna beamed. See. I told you we won't know until we try. Shoyuta can't help his laughter. He reached out and ruffled the brunette's fluffy hair before collecting the papers. He asked the kid if he is willing to be carried, he got declined. He shrugged it off. When Mayano came in again with a small box, Tsuna took the box and gave the lady a respectful bow of thanks that made the latter coo. But Tsuna took his free hand when they started to walk for the lobby. They have to meet Tsukachi to finalize everything. While holding the 4-year-old's hand, he realized that the hand is pretty warm. Not the increasing temperature type, which indicates that one is experiencing a fever. Just a pleasant warmth. Maybe he's realizing it now because he's not one to have children in his hands all the time. He's honestly lamenting how is he going to look after Tsuna. You brought in a child. Present Mike, whose true name is Hisashi Yamada, stated like what he did will make the world go kaboom. Shoyuta shrugged while putting a plate of omurice on the table. I did. Shoyuta, you brought in a child. Do you even know how to take care of one? His friend questioned. No. He answered as he poured milk in a tall glass and put it beside the omurice. This should be enough. Ah. Right. The cake. He nodded to himself before going for the fridge where his charge deposited the box of cake. Have you met Tsuna? No. Not yet. I haven't seen him. I directly went to you when I heard you in here. Yamada replied, looking by the entrance. Where is he, anyway? Probably inside the bathroom. We just woke up. We slept from the moment he settled in. He explained while putting the plate of 2 cake slices on the table. Already warned him about you, so don't worry. Aizawa-san, don't be mean. Both men turned for the door to see the brunette walking in. Sorry, Aizawa-san. I used your soap and shampoo. You took a bath already? He frowned. You're too little to reach the medicine cabinet. You should have called for me. And let you leave your guest. No way. I used the chair there to reach the cabinet anyway, and I'm only vertically challenged. I'll get taller. And the child harumphed with a pout before turning to Yamada and bowed a little. Nice to meet you, Present Mike-san. I'm Tsunayoshi Sawada, you can call me Tsuna. Oh. You're so polite. I'm Present Mike. Hisashi Yamada. Nice to meet you. The blonde said in a loud voice, before he cringed. Oh. I said that loudly, did I? Yamada dash. It's alright. I don't mind. I have a friend who's pretty loud too. He always shouts extreme and yells things whenever he's talking with one of our group. So it's okay. I'm used to it. Tsuna dismissed with an understanding and indulging smile before trying to heave himself on his chair. Shoyuta rolled his eyes and helped the child on the seat. Ask for help, dummy. Caramel eyes blinked. I'll take note of that. Did you sleep well, Aizawa-san? You were out like a cat sleeping in the sun rays when I checked on you. Shouldn't it be Shoyuta who's checking on you? Yamada queried as the mentioned man sat on his spot. We're a pair now, so we have to check on each other. Tsuna responded before saying a small prayer. The two men joined in, and digging in. He'll check on me, I'll check on him. Oh. You're a good kid. His friend praised, in awe. The brunette smiled cutely. I try to be. Eat already. Aizawa motioned after swallowing. You need to eat a lot if you want to get taller. So mean. Yamada and Tsuna pointed out before the two eyed each other and smiled like they agreed on something. Shoyuta groaned in despair as his friend started to tell the child what he knows about him. After they talked to Tsukachi in the police station, they went for the Sawada apartment to get Tsuna some clothes. He helped Tsuna pack the latter's clothes in a luggage bag, just enough to be carried around. The brunette wasn't even planning on taking any toys if he didn't urge him. He only took 2 plushes, a green chameleon and an orange lion. They took some shoes too. When they were about to go, Tsuna asked him permission to see his parents' bedroom. He reluctantly permitted it, and accompanied the child there. Tsuna only took 2 things in there, a black bangle and young lion's mask. When he asked why those 2, the brunette only smiled and said, for safekeeping. Aizawa thought the child thinks that his parents won't make it, so he asked again. Tsuna elaborated in his second askance, saying he wants to at least take those things his parents really like to use because while they're asleep, he won't be able to forget them as time goes on. He also said that he's not expecting them to wake up any sooner, but he hopes they will in the right time. Shoyuta doesn't really know what to think of that. I turned on the TV for him. Yamada informed while sitting down on his previous seat. Isn't it bad for kids to watch TV? He speculated while soaping up a plate. I don't think so. We all have these heroes going here and there. They make children dream and such. Ha! He uttered, turning on the tap to wash off the soap from the silverwares. I think I know now why you want to keep him. He glanced at the blonde from his shoulder. A good kid with the maturity of a middle-aged man. Don't you think that's his quirk? He just turned 4 today, so that's impossible. He dismissed, although his gut agrees with what Yamada said at a certain degree. Wait. He looked back again to see his friend eyeing him with wide eyes. You mean Dash? Yeah. He focused on his chore. He said so himself. He doesn't even mind too. Unlike most children I know. Even I was excited for my birthday in that age, if I remember it. Maybe you should take him to the doctor. Or to recovery girl. Shuta's brows furrowed in thought. I don't really think he'll like that. And I don't want to expose him too much. He already experienced all this at a tender age, and just when he turned 4. I want him to live a normal life under my watch. Then I'll help. Yamada grinned at him. Man. Just thinking how you'll teach the kid to call for help when you don't, will be a good thing to watch. He scowled, causing snickers from the blonde. Shut up. But if he was any honest to himself, he'll agree to what Yamada said. The reason why he went solo and an underground hero was because he lost faith of working with a pair or a group a long time ago. If only he knew that Tsuna will be the one to teach him the ropes of entrusting his life to others' hands as he gets trusted with theirs. Shoyuta gazed down at Tsuna, who is trying to reach the remote in tiptoes. He sighed, took the controller and handed it to the brunette. After that, he lifted the kid by his sides and carried him in his arms. The child put an arm around his neck to not fall. He settled themselves on the couch and let the brunette sit beside him. He watched the 4-year-old click keys here and there after switching the TV on. They settled to a news. He focused on the current coverage, eyeing the child at his peripheral. It's been a week since he took Tsuna in his apartment. So far, the kid never gave any fuss. Always the helping hand. Whenever he comes back from surveying the area, Tsuna will be up and waiting for him to make breakfast for both of them and a lunch for the kid while he sleeps his lunch away. Before he goes out for his job, he'll make them dinner and help the kid do his nightly routines before leaving him alone in the apartment. He doesn't even have to remind the brunette to lock the door, because it is locked whenever he comes to check. Tsukachi has been asking about the child too. If he's faring fine, no nightmares of psychological strains here and there. He did check, but he can't see any signs. It's like Tsuna never saw his parents wounded or that he suddenly switched houses. He does see the kid looking out the terrace whenever he wakes up to go for the bathroom. The child has the TV off, and idly watches the view from the terrace, not that he minds. Just curious of what his charge is musingly watching outside. Shouldn't you be sleeping, Aizawa-san? Tsuna queried, eyes still on the TV. You've been up all night while I was sleeping. Just making the coffee I drank go by. He answered instantly. Maybe you should drink some milk too. Milk is a good way to make us sleep. I don't like milk. They shared silence while watching the news. Who's your favorite hero? He quizzed when images of heroes flashed on the screen. I like Yamada-san. The child replied. What about All Might? He's alright. He peered at the child when he detected a small lilt on the tone. The symbol of peace. Saving the others with a smile. He must have a lot of bad guys wanting to defeat him. He does. But he's a good hero. You are too. Except you don't like the spotlight and you don't smile. Shoyuta scoffed. I smile. Tsuna looked at him and raised his brows at him. Oh. I do. Then smile for me. He looked away. I don't want to. See. You don't smile. Ticked off, Aizawa took the brunette from the seat and started to tickle the other. I smile, you little prick. Tsuna's laughter rang in the apartment as the kid tries to pry off his hands. No. You don't. I do, wadash. Then he started to laugh when the child started to tickle him on the neck too. The child was all over him, tickling him here and there, and only stopped to point at his face with a proud grin. There. That's a smile. Shoyuta chuckled as he let himself fall on the couch and tried to steady his breathing. God. He felt so spent after laughing so much. All right. You win. Ah. Give up already. You tire me out. He defended before yawning. You started it. Tsuna pointed out before smiling understandingly. I'll get your blanket. You sleep here. But I want my bed. He groaned, eyes slowly dropping. Sometimes, you have to ask for my help too, Aizawa-san. If you don't start it, I won't be the one to ask first some help. He heard his charge whisper as he gets lulled to sleep. Or maybe I should teach you. Children learn things from how adults do them, after all. But for now, sleep tight. I'll watch over you until you wake up. And he fell asleep. When he woke up, he found himself staring at the TV with a cooking show being played. He looked around, disoriented. He can hear someone talking in whispers and some giggling. He shifted until he became more comfortable. He was going to close his eyes to sleep more, when he felt someone hovering on him. He peered to see his charge curiously watching him. The child looked disheveled with some white patch on his right cheek and left side of the forehead. Shoyuta reached out and wiped off the white substance from the cheek, causing the brunette to close his right eye. The substance is a little rough on the skin. He looked up to those caramel eyes that were staring at him with mirth. Where did you get a flower? he drawled. The child giggled. It made him smile a little. Yamada-san came in with groceries. We just finished baking cookies in the kitchen. Is he cleaning it up? Yup. I wanted to help but he shooed me away to pester you. He said you're sleeping too much. Don't believe him. The child giggled again. I won't. Go to sleep again, Aizawa-san. I'm going to clean up. He started to sit up as Tsuna walked for the guest room. Do you need any help? He watched the kid make a thinking face before smiling. I'll call for you when I want to get out of the tub. It's slippery. Okay. Shoyuta nodded, pleased that the kid is asking help from him over something. Just call. Yes. Eat some of the cookies. The child yelled over while running for the room. Shoyuta pushed the blanket off him and let his legs fall off the couch. He stood up and walked for the kitchen where he knows Yamada is. The blonde with spiky hair was putting rice on a bowl. Must be the last things needed to complete the set-up meal on the table. He took his chair and sat there, taking one cookie that looked like his name in English alphabet and munched on it. The taste was sweet, but not that sugary. Enough snack to go by. He wonders if it will go well with coffee. It will obviously go well with milk. How did they even make such cookies? They were all formed with their names, varies from Japanese and English characters. Tsuna's full first name is written too. You, Shoyuta Aizawa, is so lucky to have that child. Yamada stated with an envious look while putting the bowl of rice in front of him. He rose a brow as he munched on the pie. Can't you see? You're being taken care of a child. The blonde sat across from him with a huff. He checked you thrice in a span of 1 hour and 30 minutes. He was making sure that we weren't disturbing you with all the noises we were making. I wish I have a toddler living with me too. Go get a fuzzy one. He waved off, heart flattering at how caring his charge. He inspected the meal in front of him. What's with the cookies? He did most of those. He said he wants to eat something while watching. If I know, he'll make you take some to munch on while at work. His friend grinned teasingly. Any news on the helping thing? He rolled his eyes. Shut up. Aizawa-san. They heard Tsuna calling out from the bathroom. Shoyuta snappily got up and walked for the bath. He munched the last of his name when he was about to enter. The child is sitting on the tub, waiting for his help. He took the brunette out of there and settled him on the floor. He reached out for the towel and started to dry the kid, who laughed at how ticklish he does it. He waited for the kid to finish dressing up before he carried the ladder in his arms. Yamada was waiting for them in the dining area. Ah! Squeaky clean. His friend accused as Shoyuta put Tsuna on the child's usual spot. Tsuna giggled. Yee-hee. Squeaky clean. Shoyuta kept the smile from forming on his lips as he sat down on the chair. Now, children. Let's eat first. The two complied and all of them said itadakimasu. Don't you think Aizawa-san can be a teacher? He heard Tsuna whispered to Yamada, who snickered. He sounded like a teacher just a while ago. You think so? I thought so. Shoyuta rolled his eyes playfully. I can hear you. The two laughed. After dinner, Yamada excused himself to go home while Tsuna helped him do the small chores. Since the kid already bathed, Shoyuta went to do his own routine to get ready for work. Of course, he checks the kid from time to time. The brunette is so unpredictable sometimes. One moment, he's watching a kiddie show, the next SEC he checks, he's watching a brutal movie. Aizawa had to ban the channel surfing, which he knew not effective because he can't supervise the kid. At least Tsuna keeps his promises. When the child promises him to sleep at 10 o'clock, he'll sleep at 10. He knows how important vows were. Tsuna. He called out from his room when he can't find his capture weapon. Have you seen my capture weapon? This capture weapon? He eyed the door to see Tsuna sporting a mummy look. Bah! Then the kid started to giggle uncontrollably. Shoyuta chuckled before going near. Were you trying to scare me? No. I wasn't even that scary. Your capture weapon latched on me when I took it from the hanging man. The child reasoned out as Aizawa crouched in front of him. Let me help you remove that. He murmured as he started to remove the weapon from the brunette's body. Thanks for helping me find it, bud. No problem. Happy to help. Tsuna grinned before running outside. Shoyuta put the capture weapon around his neck, patted his yellow goggles on his head before going out. He peeked at the living room, but Tsuna wasn't there while the TV was on with a cooking show. He didn't mind. He went for the foyer to put on his shoes. He was about to finish when he heard light pads of feet coming towards him. He stood up and looked back to see Tsuna smiling at him while offering him a small string bag that has stars and moon on its outside appearance. He took it hesitantly when the child shook it, as if telling him that it's his. What's this for? He asked, staring at the bag. A gift. Tsuna answered with a cheeky beam. Go on. Off you go. Take care, Aizawa-san. Come back safely. He nodded and put the bag inside his pocket. I'll be back. He was by the door when the brunette said, Don't do something I won't do. What? He blurted, scandalized with the last statement. The reaction made the brunette squeal, run away and laugh at the end. Eraserhead chuckled before going out. That kid. Thank you for asking my help when you couldn't find your capture weapon. Tsuna. Aizawa stared at the note before he put it inside his pocket and took a letter T to eat, blushing a little. Stupid kid. Make the leap of the faith from the roof. Believing with all your might that you will have an individuality in the world. He mocked, peering back to Deku. When the other turned around and was about to say something, he flashed his quirk with a smirk. You got something to say? He was about to laugh as the other closed his mouth, when he heard a cold voice answering him instead. Actually, I do. All eyes went for the brunette who just finished packing his stuffs. Katsuki's throat clogged a little as Caramel, with specks of orange, eyes moved to gaze at him with unreadable emotions. Something that he never dreamed of seeing from a classmate who never really interacted with anyone, except for Deku. Tsunayoshi Sawada is someone who has his own power in their school. He can be dubbed as a loner, someone much worser than Deku, because at least the latter has some bullies to look and talk to him. But then, no one can approach the brunette, who has his headset on all the time except in class. Almost assumed mute if they didn't hear him inviting the quirkless greenet to go to class, go home or just someplace no one can reach Deku again. He has excellent grades too, a little below Katsuki's, and the interrupter of all assault on Deku in the school. Just one "oi" and everyone will freeze figuratively. No one even knows what his quirk is, but they couldn't call it out on him and bully him, in fear of being the receiving end of an unexpected retaliation. He's just a single person, but he exudes power and promise of hurt if messed with. And to see him standing up for Deku, hearing him answer Katsuki, made everyone in their class stop. Because Sawada never talks when they verbally assault Deku. What do you want to say? Katsuki managed to ask without stuttering. Do you really think that's a good thing to say, Bakugou-san? Asking Midoriya-san to make a leap of faith from a roof to see if he can establish his individuality in the world? Sawada queried. His red eyes glanced at his target. If it's Deku dash. Of course, you'll say that. Sawada cut him off while shouldering his book bag. Did you even understand what you've said? You'll say yes, right? So what if Midoriya-san will do it? Jump off from the tallest building here in Mizutafu and die because you pushed him to do it? Katsuki's eyes went to Deku who had bowed his head. Do you even know how suicide works? The brunette queried as he steps forward to stand beside Deku. Regardless of how it was done alone, those who pushed the individual to do it will be accountable to the death. So Bakugou-san, can you stomach the fact that Midoriya did a suicide jump after you told him that? Deku won't do it. He insisted, but he can feel his gut quivering. Even him doesn't believe what he just said. He knows better. How do you know? The brunette challenged, eyes sharp. How do you know he won't do it after all the bullying, the name-calling and the beating you did to him? How do you know that he won't do it? Because you know him. Do you even know what's running in his mind when you attacked him a while ago? When you asked him what he was capable of? Katsuki's throat clogged as he stared at Deku, who was silently crying. I won't even blame Midoriya from doing it. The whole class is mocking him for being quirkless. The school, even the teachers, I think. Sending him pitying looks, yet not even stopping the bullying acts. Have you thought of doing it, Midoriya-san? Oh. Stupid me, why did I even bother to ask when I saw you once? A lot of eyes widened at the last sentence. So I've heard you lots want to become heroes. Sawada chuckled humorlessly. Don't make me laugh. Heroes are known to encourage their people to live, not tell them to go and do a suicide because they're quirkless. Because they're useless. How can you become heroes if you bully someone for your own entertainment? To feel like you have the power. Surpass all might. PFT. You don't even know how to smile, so how can you do that? Heroes are known to save the civilians. To save those people who have quirks that do not qualify as a hero's quirk. To save those quirkless people. Heroes are those people who do not discriminate who to save, help and assist. They are known to give hope. To give safety. To inspire others despite the adversities. If you really want to become heroes, then tell me, have you tried standing in Midoriya-san's shoes every time you bully him, or see him get bullied? Of course, you did. That's why you bully him, that's why you never say a thing. How revolting. Bullies are bad. The bystanders are much worse. I wonder what will you do if your parents were quirkless? What will you do? Bully them? Call them useless? Ask them of what were they capable of? Probably ask them to jump from the tallest building here in the city. What if you see them getting bullied instead? Are you going to shout and make those bullies stop? Or maybe you'll help too. Snicker at the side, and encourage them to do it more. I mean, most of you do it whenever Bakugou-san attacks Midoriya-san, right? Katsuki imagined what he does to Deku is being done to his parents. His heart clenched at the thought. Don't talk like you don't do the same thing, Sawada. One of their classmates said. You never stop the bullying too. He does. Deku sobbed, making them shut up. Whenever he sees me G getting S surrounded, he C calls me O out. Whenever he sees me D down, he helps M me on my F feet. He cares. He N never bullies me T2. He E encourages me to S stay strong by just patting my shoulder. Unlike any of you. Shut up dash. I won't continue that if I were you. Sawada threatened, a hand touching the chair beside him. Because not even a hero can save you once I sick you this chair. The threat was effective. It's a good thing I'm going for a normal high school. I don't want to see any of you again once I graduate here. Sawada sighed. I mean, if ever I get into trouble with a villain, and you lots have became heroes by then and are dispatched to save me, I'd rather die in the villain's hands than be saved by you. Who would like to be saved by people who encourage others to die for being useless? You might even tell them to save themselves because you don't save useless people. Then he put a hand on the greenet's shoulder and smiled a little. Let's go buy you a new notebook after we get your burned notebook. I'll even stay with you while you write them up, Midoriya-san. Thank you, Sawada-san. Deku sobbed. Come on. The brunette said, ushering the greenet forward and glaring at anyone who tries to intercept them. I heard you like All Might. Have you met him once? They watched the two leave them alone in the hushed room. They could hear Deku starting to talk animatedly about how great of a hero All Might was. But they couldn't think of that. All Katsuki think was how true the brunette's words were. If Deku did take his stupid advice seriously, they won't see the greenet the next day. God. Just the thought of seeing Aunt Inko crying over her son's dead body, and the fact that he will be the one to be pointed guilty at the end. He almost killed someone and could have never been a hero. What could he almost done? Tsuna hummed along the song he can hear from his headset. One of the things his dad gave him as a birthday gift. He mostly requests hoodies and jackets, and just his dad's day off, but there are times that the other goes extra mile to give him a gift. He looked over the see-through glass to see Midoriya enjoying himself with all the stationery surrounding him. Tsuna can't himself from smiling a little. He just knew it will be one of the things the greenet will be happy to see. He thinks he'll invite the other to get All Might posters too. If it will make him more cheerful after all the ordeal they did before going there. When he heard Bakugou said those stupid things, the first thing that came to Tsuna's mind was Takashi. Especially that time Takashi wanted to take his life after his arm got injured with all the strain he did in his practice. So it was no-brainer for him to spat every sense of wrong in their school. How the teachers don't even bat an eyelash to how Bakugou treat Midoriya like a dirt. How their classmates egg the blonde to do more. And how no one says anything to stop the bullying. He admits that he only does small things to help Midoriya out of them. Like calling him out to invite him to class, or go home with him. Even go eat somewhere peaceful. Because he knew, his intuition tells him too, that the greenet will get in more trouble for being dependent on him, if he outright defends him. Maybe he saw himself on Midoriya. Especially when he was back in his old world, being teased for being a dame. Dame is like Deku. They both mean useless. But for Tsuna, calling himself dame after becoming the Vongola Decimo is a kind of comfort amidst all the stupid things he can do. It's his strength, reminding him that he's not a hero. That he can do what he can do to save the others, his family, but not the whole world. He hopes Midoriya will find strength in his own nickname too. Something he will find comfort from. Sawada-san. He removed a bud and gave a smile to indulge the greenet who's bouncing towards him. Thank you. No problem. Really. Do you want to get All Might posters? Or figurines? He invited as he started to walk for the famous All Might store he knew in Mizurufu. I think it's this way. Wait. Aren't I taking too much of your time? Midoriya queried while catching up to him. You have already shared me money to help me buy notebooks and pens. It's fine. I don't have anything to do at home anyway. Oh. Caramel eyes glanced at the other who have quietened down. Do you really think I'll do that leap of faith thing? Midoriya asked in a soft voice. Tsuna hummed. I don't think so. I think you'll do that when you've given up hope. You're someone who is stronger than you think. Even though they have degraded you from age 4, you're still here, believing that you'll become a hero. I said those things just to scare them. Besides, I really saw you at the rooftop. We ate there, remember? He got a small chuckle before the greenet became serious again. Sawada-san, do you think I will become a hero? He stopped walking as the greenet did. I'm quirkless, I'm not capable of doing anything like Kaken said. So do you think I will become a hero? Midoriya-san, we have different versions of hero and different definitions of hero. He said softly, remembering all the things he learned in his original world and this new world he's in. But for me, yes. You can become a hero. If you want to come to Yui, do it. I'm not saying this because I want you to keep on trying to do something pointless in the end. I'm saying this because miracles happen. Who knows, your quirk might develop tomorrow or the next day, a justification that you're a late bloomer. Midoriya stared at Tsuna before he covered his eyes, tears leaking due to so much gratitude. Thank you. Come on now. All Might posters are waiting for you. He chuckled. Yes. The Greenet responded with a brilliant smile. After buying an All Might pen merch for himself, the two parted ways. Instead of going home immediately, Tsuna found himself roaming around the shopping district while enjoying himself with his music. He opted for window shopping before buying a small grocery for him and his dad. And probably a cake too, just for the heck of it. He was going out of the shopping district when he heard a commotion. He looked over once and already groaned at how fate hates him. Why does he has to see Bakugou being absorbed by a villain? He brought his groceries down, just as he heard people shouting, "Moron," and "Come back." His eyes followed a familiar green head running for the blonde. And Tsuna, for the second time, groaned before running towards the two, while trying to avoid people. When he entered the field, he heard people shouting for him. He didn't really care and focused his attention on the two teens who are trying to remove themselves from the mud. "Why are you here?" Bakugou shouted just as Midoriya's bag hit the villain's face. "Heck! How come it has a face even? My legs moved by themselves. I don't really understand." Tsuna heard the Greenet answer hurriedly before grimacing a smile. "And because your face seemed to call for help. Not a good reason." Tsuna can't help shouting as he stopped beside the two and touched the sticky mud. It immediately tried to absorb him. "Sawada-san." The two teens shouted. "Another pest?" The villain cried. Tsuna craned his neck in thought as his dying will manifested and his intuition guided him. His flames didn't do any effect. "Fire won't get you to stop. How about freezing you?" He let his hand do the sign. 0-point breakthrough. Slowly, the muddy started to get frozen. Tsuna smiled sardonically as the villain started to cry out, and pumped more dying will to freeze almost everything. He immediately took Midoriya's hand from the mud's grasp, just as someone helped Bakugou out of it too. It was All Might with all his white glory, and punched the hell out of the mud villain with Detroit Smash, making the villain fly to the air. Tsuna had to plant his feet on the ground from the strong wind, and let his flames snuff out. He settled Midoriya to sit on the ground, and take deep breaths as the Greenet stared at him in complete shock, not even trying to breathe. "Sawada-san." The teen stuttered. I dash. Tsuna pursed his lips, thinking back how the other smiled so gallantly under the pressure of almost getting killed, before giving a smile. "You did well, hero." Midoriya's eyes watered. "Young man," both of them turned to All Might who have kneeled beside them. The symbol of peace gave them a smile of his own. "You have persuaded me that my morals are not there just for me to just listen. To me, it's saying that I do not set an example. The professionals put their lives all the time in the game. So I thank you." Tsuna patted the Greenet's head as All Might ran off. While some heroes tried to lecture the both of them, which he turned off by looking around, Bakugou was praised. But it can be seen from the blonde how disgruntled he is. Tsuna bid goodbye to Midoriya after getting his things he put by the other sidewalk. Before he got away though, he got called out by a hero who praised him with how quick he thought of freezing the villain when flames did not work. He only smiled and told them to keep up the good work and discreetly told them to do what they could do to save others. Of course he will put a jab on that. Heroes should have done what they could do to save Bakugou even if they knew their quirks weren't effective. How insulting it was to see a civilian run towards the disaster to at least help while the heroes waited for the time for Bakugou to get absorbed. When he got home, his dad, Shoyuta Aizawa, was still asleep. Tsuna immediately turned the TV on to some cooking show, so he won't get scolded when his dad gets a glimpse of what he did before going home. His dad can be very scary when he has the scolding face. Even Hisashi agrees. It's been 10 years since his parents went to coma after the attack on them and Eraserhead took him under his wing. So far, he lives a normal life. He visits his parents alone 4 times a week since he became 9, after urging his new guardian to sleep every morning till he comes home from school. He goes to school without making friends, except for Midoriya, who he labels as an acquaintance. He wanted a low-key life while helping people in the background. Something he can't remove from himself even after 6 years of not being a mafia boss anymore. He does vigilante works. Just supports, like guiding people out of the villain's ways and searching for those who need help as the fight goes on. If he gets there before the heroes, he won't engage the villain and tries to minimize casualties by telling people to run around and do not get spotted, so they won't become hostages. If possible, he doesn't want to be seen by the camera, because if he does, his dad will really get mad. Eraserhead, or Shoyuta Aizawa, became a UE teacher 6 years ago. He got recommended, and Tsuna supported it. Because of all his experience, he has the tendency to look out for first years who only aims to get famous without thinking how dangerous the job is, and expels them for the heck of it. In the current year, he expelled his whole class without a bat of eyelash, and then re-enrolled them again. Kinda douchebag, right? But that's how caring his dad is. Well, the academy promotes freedom, and that applies to its teachers too. What Tsuna likes about his dad is the fact that he doesn't give a SHT of what others think of him. Besides that, he has a bad but quirk called Eraser, that could erase a quirk for a time being, as long as he doesn't blink. He has dry eyes though, so he needs eye drops. Tsuna helps taking care of them too, doing home remedies. But other than that, Aizawa's the coolest dad. Probably as cool as his previous tutor, Reborn. Tsuna. Tsuna turned around and beamed at the man who had his hair tied. Dad. Good evening. So cheerful. Aizawa sighed before sitting on one of the chairs, looking still out of energy. How's school? Fine. My homeroom teacher asked me why I'm not going for a hero school when I have an incredible quirk and all. He waved off as he served the last plate of side dish he made. Did you sleep enough? Do you want coffee? I'll make you some. Please do. The other answered, and he hurriedly complied. Why don't you, anyway? You know my answer to that. He hummed, mixing the powdered coffee he roasted and ground it himself. Just because everyone wants to become hero doesn't mean I have to become one too. Which is a testament that you aren't like everyone else. His dad nodded, and patted the brunette's head as he put the mug of coffee on the man's side. I respect your opinion. He smiled as he settled down. Don't. The man exaggerated, raising a lazy hand to cover his eyes. You're attacking me with your own son again. Tsuna rolled his eyes. Oh come on. I'm not that cute anymore. Ha. I've become handsome. He grinned, causing laughter from the man. Truth to be told, Tsuna didn't expect himself to get taller than his previous height. At age 14, he's 167 centimeters. He was boggled when Hisashi noticed it and measured it for him. His build is sturdier too, something that came out from his own training that he started when he was 9 without his dad's knowledge. It's always hidden under his baggy clothes anyway. His intuition got stronger too, and he could understand his school works perfectly. Something he doesn't have years ago, except when his seal got broken. Because when his seal got completely broken after the fight with the Vindice, he could understand all Reborn was teaching him. Everything was clearer even. He speculated that his stunted growth was a result of his seal, which Reborn seconded. Imitsu has an Italian BLD. So Tsuna has to be taller than he was in his past life, regardless of how strong Nana's genes were on him. After dinner, Tsuna did the chores after kicking his dad to go to the bath and do his routine to get to work. The two established that the other will take Sundays as a day off to get a good rest before resuming. They just usually spend those times being inside the house, enjoying each other's company. But even if that was done, Tsuna can't risk his dad getting overworked. He promised himself that he will make the load lighter for the both of them when for the first time, he saw how dead on his sleep was Aizawa after getting back from his work. While waiting for the man to finish dressing up, Tsuna started to do his homework in the living room, singing along with the song playing on the channel he picked. When the other went out of his own room, Tsuna pointed at the small bag of treats on the side of his elbow and sang, "Take care," and "Come home safely," with the tune. And before the door closes, he sang, "Don't do something I won't," that he knew will put a smile on Eraserhead's lips. Tsuna made his chair face Midoriya's table, intending to eat lunch with the team. He didn't mind the looks they get and settles comfortably. He caught Bakugou's eyes before he focused his attention on the greenet in front of him. He had seen Midoriya cleaning the beach with all might. He actually discovered what the hero told the greenet, that the latter can't become a hero while being quirkless. On the same day, after they saved Bakugou and got sermons from those heroes who responded to the situation, the hero took back what he said and told Midoriya that could be a hero if he follows the given training regimen. Hence, the beach cleaning. Midoriya confessed to him that regardless of what All Might said at first, he didn't really get depressed because Tsuna believed in him, other than his mother. That with the sea of people telling him that he can't be a hero, there are two people who still believe he will be one. The brunette even got a thanks, because of what he said about miracles. Although Tsuna wanted to tell All Might a piece of his own mind every time he sees the man, he didn't do it. He opted to support the green head instead. Because what All Might said was reality of how people perceive Midoriya, and they all have different definitions of what heroes should be. Still, Tsuna believes, and thanks heavens miracle did happen. Sawada-san. The greenet acknowledged, almost falling on his bento if Tsuna didn't catch him. It's Tsuna, Midoriya-san. We agreed to that. He corrected as he made the greenet sit properly. You look dead tired. The teen went sheepish. You noticed too. He kinda scolded me for not following the routine too. Don't feel bad about it. We all become desperate at times. He assured as he opened his own bento. He caught green eyes staring at his deep-fried pork cutlet. Taking one with his chopsticks, he put it on the other's box. If you want more, just tell me. I'm sorry. The greenet blushed in embarrassment. He waved it off before clipping a piece from his own. It's nothing. I'm just worried that you're not resting properly after your workouts. If you want, I'll help you with our studies. Not that anyone will mind. Really? He smiled a little at the hopeful expression. Yup. I've taken so many favors from you, Tsuna. Midoriya sheepishly said. I promise you I'll repay you when time comes. He nodded. For starters, repay me by eating properly, alright? If you need to build muscles, at least eat full meals to replenish the nutrients you always use. Yes sir. Then the greenet started to eat more. Tsuna looked down to his own lunch and ate. He knew there's more to Midoriya's training, but he doesn't want to meddle in. He's focusing himself on his own entrance exam for the high school he wants to enter. If he could get away from all the troubles, he'll live peacefully. Nah, Tsuna. He hummed as a response to his classmate's call. I've been wanting to ask. About your quirk. He peered at the other who is staring at him with child's wonder and curiosity. I just remembered what you did to that villain. You said fire can't stop him, so you froze him. How did you that? Do you have a fire quirk and an ice quirk? Tsuna contemplated what to say before he smiled with secretive edge. That's for me to know, and for you to find out. Tsuna laughed his butt out as the other started to persuade him to talk. He honestly thinks that Hayato will like how smart Midoriya is. They'll probably get along well with all the UMA facts and quirk analyzing. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 2. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author BoyishBlue on FANFICTIONnet. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.